I tend to default to an auto rifle with a little range just in case. I went with Wofltone draw for the art captains Google said would be present, but I don't recall seeing any shields. Sleeper did a lot of work here, and I think the Stag did as well. Particle deconstruction is enough of an extra push to save ammo on some of these champions. Outside of that, having max recovery was probably the most noteworthy thing going on here. Getting right into it, relevant side note, this Empire Hunt can come with the Hot Knife modifier that gives Shanks solar shields, and if you're running this when that modifier is active, this build probably isn't the play. There are a lot of Shanks in this run, so in the event of Hot Knife, I'd run a kinetic bow with a solar auto rifle instead to avoid eating through heavy ammo on them. Now, the reason that max recovery is noteworthy here is one of the modifiers that we do have right now, Togetherness. It takes my health an entire 20 seconds to start regenerating, and there's going to be times where you just don't have 20 seconds. The ideal approach to the barrier servitors in this run is going to depend on a few factors: what kind of enemies they're shielding, what kind of spacing you have to work with, sightlines, etc. Sometimes it's going to be best to freeze or stun the barrier so you're able to take everything else out first. Sometimes it's going to be best to nuke the barrier first. This next room has so much going on in it that the safest play is to trigger the spawns and get back to the door. The Brig is a little too much of a threat to be dealing with the overloads while it's still alive, so Brig and friends first, overloads last. There's 2 or 3 places in this run where things just come flooding out of a doorway. Be prepared. This room after the second barrier servitor is going to be the worst of them. It looks empty until you go inside. And there's an overload champion that thinks they're sneaky. Then you've got your standard exploder shank rush, but the tracer shanks in this room pose a bigger threat. The snipers in this next room make it another instance where it's a lot less frustrating of an encounter if you can find a way to take out the trash mobs first. In this double barrier room, try to clear out the mobs that aren't covered by the servitors first, then focus down one of the champions. Once you've cleared out enough of the mobs, the second champion will retreat further back. first time you encounter the boss, the only thing you need to take out is the shield generator above him. The next barrier servitor is dealer's choice on how you want to handle it. My aim was to get the mobs first so I could get closer, but sometimes your stasis turret has other plans. And sometimes it's just an asshole. It canceled the barrier here and I didn't realize it. This overload has enough snipers with it for them to be a concern. I opted to rotate between stunning the overload and then making what progress I could on the rest of the mobs. If you're running the stag, you can face tank anything this guy will throw at you while you're standing in a rift. Something to be aware of, there are 3 snipers in this corridor and a mine on most of the platforms. Onto the boss. There are second floor platforms all over the edge of the room that are semi-safe. What I mean by semi-safe is, it's better than being down there. There will be spots that you can be shot from, so it's best to avoid taking damage when possible. Also relevant to note, the fog doors on these platforms are an indication that mobs spawn there. I'm not sure if I got lucky or if the game is designed for them to not spawn on top of you, so your mileage may vary. Prioritize the things that will reposition to get line of sight on you. And then get some damage on the boss. Every 25%, Praxis will gain a shield, and generators will spawn around the room that need to be destroyed before damage can be done again. The amount of generators starts at 2 and increases every phase. You'll likely have to rotate around the room to get them all. Good luck in there, and subscribe for more Destiny 2 content. Oh no, I am super dead. Or I can just get deleted instantly.